skydiving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello, hello, hello. Is it me you're looking for? I actually heard a version of Hello the other day, done in a heavy metal style. Yeah. And for anybody that is chatting, I did reset the YouTube, so hopefully it's working now. It probably is not though. It should be, but it is probably not. Oh, oh. What was that? That was the Buggles. That was the Buggles. They had the first video on MTV. It was called Video Killed the Radio Store. Hey, Michelle. Good to see you on YouTube. Look at you. YouTube's more fun anyway. It's more fun anyway. I'm going to get started here in about another minute. But I was thinking of a topic. I'm like, oh, I never finished my story. Maybe we could go with something like that. So, yeah. Just trying to figure out a good place to start on it so that people that didn't hear the first part, don't get too awfully confused. But I guess I'd kind of do a little review of up to 30 years old. Grew up in Utah until I was 9 and moved here. Never really had many friends. I started drinking at about 13. My mother got sober when I was 14. 14 is also when I got out of control, and my parents put me in Mount Airy Psychiatric Center, and I would spend the rest of my teenage life in group homes. Yeah, I actually get more people on YouTube than I do anywhere else. Yes, you're welcome, bud. I love you too. One of my cats. From there, I would emancipate my parents. By 17, I was living on Skid Row. I got sober at 18, went through a program called the Phoenix Concept, which was a year-long program for homeless alcoholics. I was one of the first alumni through that. No, I don't want your butt on my head, but thanks. You're awfully kind. He's like, Dad. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. He's kneading the back of my neck. Oh, got sober at 18. I went on to be part of a team called the Westside Drug Free Youth Team, where we won a couple prevention awards. Became a drug and alcohol counselor at the age of 20. I get married, start working some detox, some other things, had a child, get divorced, would have a child, get remarried, get married again. So I have 2 ex-wives, and I have two children that are mine. I have a total of 4. I do consider my stepchildren my children. Absolutely, I do. They do have their own biological fathers in their life. I do not interfere with that. That is not for me to interfere with. But I do treat them like I do my children. I had stopped going to AA after about 8-9 years of sobriety. And by the time I had 12 years, I relapsed. And that's where we are at the age of 30. All right. Looked like one other person was here for a second. And I think they were hopping on and they weren't supposed to because they're at work. Welcome to Daily Church. My name is Tion. I like that people will skip work to come hear me, though. That's kind of Are you still there? You're just waiting patiently, aren't you? You just want to sit on my jacket. That's what it is. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. So yes, I would relapse. Um, I would relapse actually at the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. I wasn't actually at Disneyland. It was the day before, night before, and you know, I had one Coors Light, and I was up half the night wanting another beer. Yes, I was. Um, Even my ex-wife at the time was like, "Is that really the best idea?" And things, but she didn't know enough about the program or alcoholism because I hadn't been going to AA or doing any of my other stuff while I was with her, and so um, we would get divorced. We would separate and get divorced, and it wouldn't be long before my drinking started, and this is the progression of the disease. Okay. Um, I had the same tolerance for alcohol as I did when I quit when I was 18, which was pretty high because I was drinking continuously even at that age. And it wasn't long before, I was going to the liquor store every day, right? And I had a really good job at the time. I wouldn't be able to hold it for much longer. I think I was there another 6 months. I don't time's kind of weird for me. It's a little foggy. There are parts of my memory where I kind of remember stuff, but I don't remember details. Um, that is part of what drinking will do for you. There are some things that if you drink long enough, that are irreparable, and that includes memories, or maybe I shoved them down a little too far or something. I don't know. I don't know. Um, Started doing a lot of partying. Go out all night. It's the usual stuff. There's no real adventures there. When I was 31, I decided I wanted to start playing drums, and so the girl I was dating at the time bought me a drum set, and and I didn't take any lessons. I learned. I went online and learned how to play a 4-beat. Now let's remember YouTube and stuff wasn't really around yet, so I kind of I had to do some searching. So I learned how to play a 4-beat, but that was all the training. That was all I never took a drum lesson or anything. But 9 months later, I was headlining in a place called Herman's Hideaway here, which at the time was a bigger place on a Saturday night. Saturday night. Now, I'm going to tell you now, I'm not the best drummer. I'm not. I'm a mood drummer. So just because we practiced it that way, if we go and play before people and you change how you're doing things, I'm going to change it too. And I don't play according to the bass or the guitar. I play according to the lead singer and the crowd. And because of that, I was dubbed a name called Mysticopolis, and it means engineer of mystical cities. And it's actually a nickname of mine. I haven't used it in a long time. But I would get really big into the music scene. And I met a lot of local bands. Um, it's really hard to describe everything that went on. I mean, I've done everything from live on Skid Row to party with very, very famous people. I don't quite remember all of them. I don't. And but let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Okay, it wasn't long before I lost my license again, lost my car. These are the yets that did not happen to me when I was 18 because I did not have them. So I lost my wife, I lost my kid, I lost my house. See, there's a part in the big book that says, actually, it's in the 12 by 12, where it says that we raise the bottom so that um, we raised the bottom to hit them so they didn't have to go through the last 10, 15 years of literal hell. Okay. Now, being a big book thumper, I had that memorized and I took it to an extreme. I took it as a challenge. That is the thought process of an alcoholic. Okay. Now, remember, I had training in all of this. I won prevention award. But see, this does not. What was the I'll tell you what the problem was. I was taking, I was resting on my laurels. I was taking success were things I had done years ago. Yeah, you know. One of the other things that actually led me back to drinking was something called live action role play, LARPing. I got very addicted to playing the game. Why did I get addicted to playing that game? Because I got to do all the things in that game that wasn't allowed in the real world. It was just another escape. I wrote a whole book on it. I'm a published author for a role playing game, right? But I like to tell people now I made cosplay cool, and you're welcome. See, when I was a geek and a nerd, we got lots of shit. Now it's cool to be. Now it's cool. So you're welcome. Welcome. You remember those guys that used to walk into the store? They looked like they came from the Renaissance Festival. We were usually in the park beating the crap out of each other with big Nerf swords. Yeah, that was us. That was us. You probably had some in your area, right? But it was just another addiction. Okay? And to this day, I still want to play, but I know what will happen, and the answer is no. The answer is no. See, just like my drinking, I used up my LARPing card. I used up my LARPing card. Not only that, but I'm a little bit older now. I can't quite do the things that I used to do. And, well, they would just irritate the fuck out of me. Geeks with power is no good. So, because of that, okay, now I wasn't homeless. I mean, I had no home, which means I was homeless, but I wasn't, it was, and I'm just going to admit it. I'm just going to admit it. What I would do is find women with lower self-esteem and I would use them for places to live for years. I did it for years. At one point, I was dating this young lady. She was a phenomenal singer. Um, and, I was what, 33? I was like 33 years old. She was like 22, 23 years old. And she would sneak me into her parents' house so I could, sleep in the same. Yeah. And sometimes I'd have to go to the bathroom. I'd have to find a Gatorade bottle or something like that. Okay. Um, at one point in my drinking, it got so bad that I got kidney stones because I wasn't drinking any water. And it was really, I mean, it was pretty bad. I remember I went to a concert with a friend. We went to the Stained concert together, and it just felt like somebody was punching me in the back of the head constantly. I was in a lot of pain. But what it came down to is I ended up at my mother's house, and she would have to nurse me back to health. I almost died because I had lost so much weight. I couldn't keep anything down. I think it was more than just kidney stones. Um, there was one point where I didn't have a place to live, and I told my parents, "Hey, I want to try and get sober again," because I knew that they'd be willing to help me if I did that. And I remember they went away. In fact, when they went to bed, I would go outside and smoke weed. I don't know if they knew about it or not, but I'm sure that they're not stupid. My mom and her husband, his name is Roger, he's my stepfather. They are not stupid people. And they went to Thailand for a month, and I drank the whole time that they were gone. And eventually, a friend would call me and be like, "Hey, where you been?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to stay sober and stuff." And he's like, "No, you're not. Get over here," and it would start again. But, it would start again. At one point, there were a couple times that I went to jail, and it wasn't because I got caught doing anything illegal. I didn't have access to a car, so it's not like I got caught doing that. But I mean, I would have a slew of girlfriends, just a slew. I cannot. I let's just call it what it was. I was a male slut. Yes, I was. I was very precarious. I felt like I had missed out on everything because, you know, I got sober before I was even legal age to drink, and I'd never even drank in a bar before. No, I never had. I had never gone to a concert and gotten drunk. I'd never gone to a lot of things, so a lot of these things were new experiences for me and quite thrilling, right? Especially in the music industry. After a while, the band would let me go because they wanted a different drummer. And I had stolen $200. I don't know that that was quite it, as much as they were looking for a reason because they wanted another drummer. And the last time I played with them was a Saturday night, and we filled up Herman's Hideaway, and everybody, all these cute girls were yelling my name, and I think the lead singer got really mad. He got really mad because I was getting the attention, and oh, he was an attention whore. You know, lead singer, of course he is, right? And so they had formed another band, and well, they just got a different drummer, and they invited me to their first gig, and I went, and I was the only person there. And I remember feeling the justice, and I laughed at them. I said, "I told you, you should have kept me as a drummer. You should have kept me. That guy, that guy's too fast. Nobody can understand what you're doing or saying anymore, man." You know, so oh well, what are you gonna do? I tried to get in some other bands, but I just wasn't professional enough or good enough to keep up with a lot of those people. But I remained friends with them, and what happened is I started interviewing local bands and putting them on the radio. And what I would do is I would go to your practice space, and if you didn't have a CD out or recording equipment, you weren't big enough for me to interview. And so I was on radio. I've been on TV and stuff also. I just got a radio voice, and I've always been very, very good at interviewing people. And if you listen to my story before, my first part of my story, you'll know why. Is because I didn't have many friends, so I people watch. And it's very, very easy for me to determine what needs to come next, what is going to happen next, what's going through your mind. Am I making you uncomfortable? Am I asking the right questions? I have a deep empathy and I can feel it. I can feel it. There was one time I yelled at Simon Cowell. Yeah. He was being very rude during a photo shoot, and I was rude back to him. Now I want to clarify something on that. Um, People can change, and he has become a phenomenal man. He admitted it too. He's like, you know what? That behavior was not okay. And Simon Cowell became a different person. I have a lot of respect for that man now because I believe people can change. I changed. I changed. But so my running joke is maybe I owe Simon Cowell an amends. Maybe one day if I run into him, you know, he's not going to remember. He's not going to remember it. He's not. I'm gonna fast forward because a lot of it's just the same stuff. It's the insanity of the disease over and over and over and over and over again. I finally got to a point where if I was dating somebody, I would tell them I'm a heavy drinker, and if you try and interfere with it, I will not go out with you anymore. I will break up with you. They still dated me. Oh, I'm not going to try and change you. I'm like, because you got to love me for who I am. I don't accept it any other way. See, you hear the manipulation in there, because I certainly do. And I wouldn't have gone out with me. I was a piece of shit at the time. I'm not calling myself a piece of shit, but my actions sure displayed that. And there was a breaking point for me at about the age of 38. And I just got fired from another job. And I got fired because I confronted the leasing people that they were ripping people off, and the company wanted to rip people off. I would later be at court about 2 years later. I would be in court helping sue them for $7 million, and we won. We won. I learned a lot about fraud during that, which applies to a lot of what I do now. But I had an opportunity. Somebody said, "Hey, why don't you come out to California? You can help me sell. You're the guy that knows about all this stuff, right?" So I packed my bags, and this was a turning point. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to California. We're gonna make some money, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna party so fucking hard, I'm gonna kill myself. That was the intention, to move to California and die. Now, that's what I wanted to do. That was the thought process. And I'm going to tell you something, it excited me. So I move out there. It turns out that the place he said I had to stay wasn't really a great place. It was a trap. It wasn't necessarily a trap house, but it was pretty fucking close. Everybody in the house was doing meth, and it was a mess. This guy couldn't close a fucking door. We had no leads, and now I'm stuck in California with nothing. But it turned out that the competition from the last place that I worked had their main office there. And so I went to work for the second largest check conversion company in the world, in the United States. It's called Global Check, right? And they had a 90-day you could get a loan for 90 days with no credit check. It was actually a great program. It was based on your check writing history. And there was a lot of risk to it, but because of the measures we took, and the other place had taken it and perverted it just like everybody else does, right? And so that's why I learned a lot. But I'm going to kind of go through. I'm not going to talk on my time in California much, because nothing really happened. The only thing that happened is more drinking. That's all that happened. And one weekend, I got a friend request from an old girlfriend. She was my girlfriend. If you listen to my story before, it was my girlfriend that was with me when I got sober the first time when I was 18. And she stuck with me. She saw the last part of my drinking. She saw me go to the streets. Now remember, she was 15, 16 at the time. There wasn't shit she could do about it. Okay, except say, I can be there for you. And she was there for me. All the stuff that I did when we won those prevention awards and stuff, I got a chance to speak on the Capitol steps. She was there with me, next to me, when I was on La Raza. She was there. She was always there for me. And, thank God for the 52, because the 52 went right to her house and straight to the Phoenix Concept where I was at. I would eventually actually get my driver's license, and Ron Hazelton, he used to let me borrow the car. God bless Ron, man. Another person I miss. There's a lot of people that I got sober with the first time, and they're gone. They're gone. They all died sober, but because I went out for so long, I wasn't able to be there. I miss him a lot. But I digress. So I gotten a friend request, and I wasn't going to accept it. And the reason I wasn't going to accept it is because, and it was that same girlfriend, and I wasn't going to accept it because I was embarrassed. I didn't want her to see how my life had turned out, because she knew how hard I fought to get to where I was. And at this point, I didn't think God was willing to take me back. I didn't think AA was an option, even though I was very aware of it, because my perception was, God gave me a great life, and then I took a big freaking dump on it. And so I didn't think there was much chance for this man. But I did accept the friend request, and it is Shannon, who is my wife now. Okay? And this would also be a big, big turning point. See, I hadn't seen my son for 12 years, hadn't seen my daughter for several years. She was able to get in contact with my exes, right? And eventually I moved back out to Colorado. I moved in with her and with with her two kids. And the drinking would get worse. Now, now the whole family, my kids and everybody got to see how dad acted when he was drunk. And not something I'm very proud of. Not something I'm proud of. I no longer feel shame or guilt around that because I have settled things with my children. Now, I don't know. I don't have shame about it, but maybe a little bit of guilt still runs in there. But I would call that a healthy guilt. It's the kind of guilt that makes me not want to do it again. Right? So that I would consider that a healthy guilt. Um, I was still trying to kill myself. I was still, but because my kids were there and Shannon would always say to me, once I decided, because at about 42, 43, I moved out here when I was 40. And I only know that because I'd been here about a week and then it was my 40th birthday. That's the only reason I remember. Um, yeah, sorry. It's just kind of hard to think about the past sometimes, some of the things that happen. Um, but my wife, Shannon, would continue to tell me, she would tell me, Dion, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for you to get sober and I'm going to love you until then. Cause I told her, I don't love me. I don't know. No. And the thing is, when it comes to Shannon, I told her everything. I didn't hide things from her. I didn't hide my alcohol. I didn't hide the fact that I was drinking. No. But if you came near it, oh, I would bite your fucking head off. You bet I would. If you fucked with it. So you fuck with it, you know. But what would happen is things would start to disappear. You know, I think the end for me was this that Shannon said, if you have been drinking, I'm not going to be around you. And she wouldn't. And I couldn't take it anymore. So I tried to get sober. Now I'm not going to go through all the different ways, but I will tell you that it took me 2 years to get off the hooch. It was the worst 2 years of my life. I was pretty much in pain all the time. I was always more or less insanely drunk. I couldn't do anything. Towards the end there, I didn't even have the energy to walk to the liquor store a few blocks away. I didn't have it in me. And I was in and out of detox, and not once did somebody else put me in there. I did it myself. But the last time, I remember plainly the guy says, Dion, do you know how many times you've been here? And I said, no, not really. And he said, you've been here 22 times. And it was the last time. I went home. I could see the pain in my wife's eyes because I gotten time here and there. And at 45 and it was closer to, I was 45 and a half because my birthday, I was born in 1970 and it's 4/16/16, right? 16 seems to be the magical number for him because my first sobriety date was 3/16/89, right? So that's 16. In fact, my wife and I got married on March 16th, so I'd remember our anniversary. Otherwise, I may not have remembered it. Even then, I still am. I'm a man that way. I'm getting better though, right? But those 2 years, it was hard, man. Yeah, but I finally did get sober. I did finally get the hooch all the way out of me, and I was able to get through the steps. But when I was about a year and a half sober, my first anxiety attack hit. Now, I've got to go back a little bit because we're going to get into a portion of my life where it involves what I do now, and you're going to see why I do what it is that I do. See, for those 2 years, I kept going to detox and asking for help, but there was no one there to help me. I would ask for resources, and they would hand me a piece of paper and say, "Good luck. Good luck. Here you go." That's my jury summons that I didn't show up to. Here you go. I have PTSD. I don't have to go to jury duty, so I just need to send them a letter. And it sucks because I actually like the court system. I find it kind of exciting when I'm not the one in trouble. I actually like court. So it kind of sucks. My anxiety just, it won't do it. Maybe I'll get to a day where I could be on a jury though, because I would like to do that. I find it to be my civic duty, and I want to be a working member of society more than anything. That's, and I am. But I never got any help, and I would find out why later. So I had my anxiety attack, but a lot of people that know me already know that I'm diagnosed with four. I have four. Okay, of alcoholism, PTSD, anxiety, depression. Okay, that's what we got. And then, of course, they got to add on the extra letters and numbers because nothing is ordinary for us. Okay, it's acute anxiety. It's severe depression. They always want to attach these adjectives to it to make it worse. Anyway, so I would go through therapy and I would start to work through my PTSD. And I told my wife and my therapist at the time, I said, "Hey, I need to get back to work." Right. And I had tried to get back to work. And so, but what was I good at? Sales. I mean, I was a phone jockey. Okay. 200 numbers. Bam. Easy. That's easy. I can get through 200 numbers. I don't even have to look at the phone to dial. Right. Because I had just done it too much. But I found that I get behind the desk, go to make the phone call, I would freeze and then run. And I did it a lot. And it wasn't working. So they said, "Dion, you can't work. You're not allowed to work unless you are helping other people. It is the only way that we're going to allow you to work." And it's, is it a rule that I had that set down by a judge or anything like that? No, but I trusted my therapist and I certainly trust my wife, and my wife gets a lot of shit that I don't work, a lot of shit until they meet me. And then the shit talk kind of stops. Weird. Now she says, "If you have a problem with it, go talk to Dion." Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, see, don't interfere with me and my wife's relationship. You will find a Dion you do not want to meet. I will go to jail. I do not care. Yeah, I do care, but I'll do it. Anywho's it. There'd be a lot of things there. But so when I was about, I think I was 2.5 years sober, and I had started going live. No, I hadn't gone live yet. I had gone almost started going live. I'm calling February 1st 7 years. I'll be doing it. But and so I decided that I applied for a job at Washington House Detox. I'm like, they wouldn't help. There wasn't anybody there really helping me. Maybe I can go and help out. That was my thought process. And I got a letter back because I have a ton of experience in this field, a ton. And they wrote me back and they said, "Thanks for applying, but you don't have a bachelor's degree." And it hit me like a lead fucking balloon. Now I knew why I never got any help at detox. Because there weren't any more recovered alcoholics. And it almost killed me. There was a line that had changed in AA. And to this day, I still feel like a fucking fool. Because for 2 years, I would raise my hand, but the question they were asking is who here is willing to sponsor? And I thought they were saying who here needs a sponsor. So for 2 years, I didn't think I was fucking worth anything. Yeah, I was waiting for 2 years for somebody to come up and say, Dion, you need God in your life and I'm going to help you do it. And he appeared. He appeared. And thank God, because death was next for me. Now you know why I'm so vehement. Now you know why I get so mad at hearing this bullshit. Because I was trying, but I was denied. Every time I fucking turned around, I still hate that line. Who here is willing to be a sponsor? What has willingness got to do with it? It's the wrong way. I will not I will not sit there and watch while people flail around in their fucking misery because I refuse to get off my ass and go do something about it. And shame on anybody doing it. Sorry, I'm in a mood. There are circumstances. If you know me well enough, you know what they are. All right. So that gives you an idea. Okay. And I was pissed. So what was the next thing I did? This is where my adventure began. Yeah. I'm loud and I know my stuff. And one thing I am is persistent. I'm very persistent. And I will not relent until you give me an answer. And if you don't give me an answer, I'll go up the chain. I'm only in the mood of the fact that I asked for help and I was denied, including in AA meetings. That's why. I love you too. Right? So what did I do? Well, I started reaching out to the community and I got peer support going. That was me. See, there's a lot of things you guys. I don't come on and tell you everything I do because I don't want to brag. I got to have a certain level of humility, right? It's okay, Ingrid. Now I'm here, and look at the friends I got. Look at the friends I got. We're making big fucking changes. Big changes, whole states. Yes, I do have a sponsor. I do have a sponsor. You probably met my sponsor, Daryl. At the grassroots meeting. Yeah, he's my sponsor. Good guy too. He's a good guy. But my very first sponsor was Ray, the guy that ran it. But Paul was my second sponsor. And I still talk to him every now and again just to let him know that I'm still doing good. And why do I do that? Because I know what it's like to be a sponsor and have sponsees make it. It just gives you more hope. And I like him to know that, hey, I'm doing well. Right? Yeah. So I got on the peer support thing. Right? And then this is about when I started going live because I was lonely. That's why I started going live. And I actually would come on and talk about the things that I went through with PTSD and anxiety so that other people in the program didn't feel so lonely. Okay? I have videos from 7 years ago where I'm standing in front of the ER shaking. Okay? But the problem was I had become the poster child for PTSD. And a friend came along and they said, Dion, I love what you do, but you got to quit being the poster child because otherwise you will continue staying in that. And they were correct. So I moved forward. And this used to be called the Daily Reflections. Actually, at one point, it was called DD Wow, Dion's Daily Words of Wisdom. Really good with coming up name. But gosh, that's like naming a foundation after yourself. People that name foundations after themselves, I'm like, really? Okay. What's it about? I find it very selfish. Somebody caught one of my lives and they said, hey, Dion, they're still a friend. I said, hey, Dion, how'd you like to become a recovery coach? I'm like, let's fucking do it. Let's do it. First time I got out of the house, and I become a recovery coach. I go to work for some people. I'm like, this is, I wanted peer. Here it is. It's recovery coach. And to this day, I am a big proponent of recovery coaching, peer support services, when done correctly. There's a right way to do it. The rest is wrong. Sorry, but that's the way it is. Right? Well, I went to work for a company and I started to see some things. And the first thing I figured out was these people haven't finished any of the steps. They haven't, So I saw little things, but really it was when recovery coaching could start taking insurance. I'm going to tell you, I heard some horrible things come out of people's mouth. Oh, great. Now we can go for the low-hanging fruit. I would tell them, you're a recovery coach. You don't have clients. You're helping people, but you don't have clients. Doctors and therapists and professionals have clients. And recovery coaching is not a profession. In my mind, it's not professional, right? But it started to move towards fraud, and something happened with my own Medicaid, and I caught it. And from there, and I called them out on it. From there, I was blackballed from the industry for recovery coaching. And since these people had their foothold in every little fucking thing, nobody would speak to me. No one. Where I used to have speaking gigs and all of them, they just stopped talking to me. Right? Now, I'm not going to go into everything. I'm not going to go into everything on that. But it gives you an idea why I do what I do now. Why fight the good fight? See, here's the thing. Even with Adams County, right? They were supposed to pay me a month ago. And 2 days ago, they came back and said, well, oh, we're sorry on the delay, but it was denied because your stuff was out of focus. And I wrote her back. I'm like, you've already paid me twice. You already paid me twice. So I don't understand what the problem. They're lying to me. No, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. They're lying. They're just plain lying to me. No. And I ain't gonna go for it. Okay? Well, I'm not gonna go for it. Yay! She has internet. Right? So I'm gonna fill it out, send it back, whatever. It'll be direct deposit now. So at least that's cool. All right. But and I'm just using this as an example. Now they won't answer me on it. So I sent another one today and I said, hey, do you have where I can virtually sign this so I don't have to print it? And also, can you send me my old ones? I'd like to see where it's faded. And if they won't answer that, then I have the number to the executive director of Adams County Behavioral Health. And I will call her and say, why are you guys playing games with me? Why are your people lying to me? Don't fucking lie to me. Don't play a game. Don't you dare treat me different, or you're going to find something. All right. Anyway. So what is it like now? Well, I think a lot of people already know what it's like for me now. I live a pretty good life, man. I have my ups and downs. I had my week of depression after Christmas, but we saw what I did about that. I had to create new boundaries. Did I not? Did I not? All right. So I'm going to finish this up kind of like I did last time with the keys of the kingdom. I always finish with keys of the kingdom because it describes better for me how my life is now than I can. It just does. So I'm going to go to keys of the kingdom and I'll give you the page number here as soon as I find it. I think I'm past. Nope. Page 275 is where I'm going to be after I fix my video here to standard definition. Standard definition. AA is not a plan of recovery that can be finished and done with. And that's what's neat. It is a way of life, and the challenge contained in its principles is great enough to keep any human being striving for as long as he lives. Striving, trudging forward, moving forward. Striving means doing good things that good things come out of. Okay? For as long as you live. And it's true. I've been doing this for a while. I barely even touched it. We cannot outgrow this plan. It does not happen. Now, I'm reaching for perfection. You bet. Yes, I'm always reaching for perfection. I know I'm not going to get it, but I'm going to try. Because it gets me as close to my higher power as it possibly can be without being dead. As arrested alcoholics, we must have a program for living that allows for limitless expansion. See, the problem is, and they'll go on to talk about the retrogressive groove, okay? Sometimes you'll see people get bored. You will get bored. Oh, the repetitiveness. Blah, 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 blah. Like right now, I am so tired of step one. I'm so tired of it. And I'm going to hear it again tomorrow. It's just, thank you, Daily Reflection, for not mixing it up a little at least. I thought it was lazy. Oh, 1 month for at least cover the traditions half the month then. Anyway, so I need limitless expansion, which means I need a program of living that's going to allow me to grow for the rest of my life. Okay, now if you're a little bit younger, don't be scared of that. You should be excited because you're going to reach levels I'll never have a chance at. Good on you, man. I'm proud of people that are younger that come into this program and stick around. I fucking love it. I think it's great. And I'm glad that you're going to find those gifts that I wasn't able to get to. See, you didn't miss out on anything. I'm telling you. There's no such thing as rock bottom. It doesn't exist. It's just one trap door after another till you're dead or an alcoholic or dementia, right? Others may idle in a retrogressive groove without too much danger, but retrogression can spell death for us. However, this isn't as rough as it sounds. Okay, that means don't make it harder than it needs to, as we do become grateful for the necessity that makes us toe the line. And we find that we are compensated for consistent efforts by the countless dividends we receive. Well, you know what? There's so much in that, in just those last two sentences. It isn't as rough as it sounds. In fact, it's not as rough as it sounds, period. I mean, okay. Now I like this. The necessity that makes us toe the line. Why? Why do we get like that? Because now I have tools in which to do it. And that is exciting. What is that? That's that limitless expansion, right? Well, these are new tools. See, it's new to us, even though it may not be out there, right? Because when I started drinking at 13, 14 years old, that is where I was emotionally stunted. So when we get here, we got to grow up kind of fast, don't we? And then you know what happens? Then our inner child comes out. Oh, I have not done inner child in a long time. I'm going to just tell you real quick what your inner child is. It's your, excuse me, it's your intuition. It's your tummy. That's your inner child. Listen to it. It knows, my inner child knows better from right or wrong than this brain does. I can tell you that, right? But the effort of the countless dividends. Look, you know what? I don't have a bunch of people that show up all the time, but I consistently have a number of people that are here. And to me, that is a countless dividend. I have love. I have joy that I can give away because it's extra for me. When I do something good, it always comes back tenfold. I don't expect it. I don't always see it, but it does. right? A complete change takes place in our approach to life. Where we used to run from responsibility, we find ourselves accepting it with gratitude that we can successfully shoulder it. Yay! I can take care of this. This is the first. I went and got my driver's license back because I could take care of it. Fuck yeah. Yes, that is success for us. A great success. Hey, I got a primary care physician. I'm on the right meds now. This is progress for us. Hey, I showered all week. I'm not kidding. I ate 3 times today. I got a good night's sleep. These are the joys that we get in the very beginning. And they're great things. All right. Instead of wanting to escape some perplexing problem, we experience the thrill of the challenge. We do. We like these challenges. Now that we have our tools and the opportunity it affords for another application of AA techniques, and we find ourselves tackling it with surprising vigor. Yeah. Isn't that weird? That we go from like the scum of the earth, being hopeless, helpless, chronic alcoholics. All right. See, we alcoholics are one of two examples, good or bad. There's no in between for us. We're either being a good example or a bad example. Other people might have that gray, but that for us, death. Okay. There's not much black and white in AA, but that is one of them. That is one. The last 15 years of my life have been rich and meaningful. I've had my share of problems, heartaches, and disappointments because that is life. Okay. See, I got to get to a place sooner or later, we got to stop blaming our parents and everybody else for who we are. Okay. Now, that could be hard sometimes. My PTSD was mostly from my parents. Okay. But I had to find a way to get past that. It was not up to them to heal me. They did not have the capability. I needed to find a higher power and then tap that inner resource so that I could become rigorously honest and go to therapy. Now therapy will work. You know why therapy doesn't work for alcoholics? Because we can't be rigorously honest. That's why. And if you can't be rigorously honest, you will not find the answer because a therapist doesn't give you answers to your problems. They let you talk and ask the right questions until the answer comes out of your fucking mouth. Then you have a good answer. Aha, right? Just like alcoholism, the only way that somebody is an alcoholic is by self-diagnosis only. Yeah. Because that is life. But also I have known a great deal of joy and a peace. Yes, I do get moments of peace. Isn't that nice? I get more moments of peace than I do anything else anymore. I've also known a great deal of joy. Peace, that is the handmaiden of an inner freedom. I have a wealth of friends. Okay. Now, a wealth of friends doesn't mean many in this case. It means that these relationships have quality to them. In this case, for me anyway, wealth means quality, not quantity. I would much rather that number be 2 and we're all agreeing on what we need to do than 1,000 and I'm telling everybody what they want to hear so that I can get the likes and loves and the monetary thing from it. I'll never be able to do it. Dion can't be fake anymore. It disrupts me so bad. It does. It fucks me up. There's that inner child. There's that inner child, right? I have a wealth of friends, and with my AA friends, an unusual quality of fellowship. For these people, I am truly related. Yes, we are related. We may not, and one way or another, we're blood related too. There's no way. There's no way. And I don't give a fuck what ethnicity you are. One way or another, we're related. That's the way I see it. Why? Because everyone is a child of God. And that's all that matters. It is all that matters. See, I have a rule. I'm not allowed to hurt God's children. I will bring to them to justice. I will. But it's not easy to be the truth seeker and truth speaker. Okay. I run a lot of people off because I tell the truth, because I can't be fake. The consequence for fakeness is severe to me. It hurts my soul. Mutual objectives. So first through mutual pain and despair, and later through mutual objectives and newfound faith and hope. All right. What is that? That's to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Meeting other people where they are at. First things first, 90 meetings in 90 days. Get a sponsor. We're all doing it. You're not terminally unique, and you are not going to get off the hook because you think you might be. It will not work. And as the years go by, working together, sharing our experiences with one another, and also sharing a mutual trust. That's a big one for me. What is a mutual trust? That you're doing what I'm doing to meet the next person. See, I got to trust that the meeting I am not in and that the person over there is floundering is going to be taken care of. I need that mutual trust. I don't quite have it right now. I'm just going to be honest. I don't. Okay. Why did they change? It doesn't matter. I don't want to get into that. And I'm sure you don't want me to either. So a mutual trust, understanding, and love without strings, without obligation. We acquire relationships that are unique and priceless. Here's a big part for everybody. There's no more aloneness with that awful ache so deep in the heart of every alcoholic that nothing before could ever reach it. That ache is gone and never need return again. Now, since I've gotten through a lot of my stuff, because PTSD brings loneliness like few others understand either. Okay. It's the same type, but it happens differently. That makes sense. Okay. But it's been a long time since it's been so bad that I was aching. All right. Now there's a sense of belonging, of being wanted and needed and loved. In return for a bottle and hangover, we have been given the keys to the kingdom. Whew! Now you can see why I got to split my stuff into two, and I didn't cover everything. Doesn't matter. You'll never cover everything in one shot. What matters is that we ask God for the right words first, and then we allow Him to speak through us, right? All right, I really gotta pee, but most of you already knew that. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. I love you. And thanks for listening. Peace out. And have